It ain't over till the fat lady sings. That's a sports terminology. Your team could be up at halftime and then lose. Your team could be losing and then win. Or somebody could win the last second shot. Somebody could win the last second goal. Somebody could win the last second hit in a baseball game. No matter what happens, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And the fat lady is a terminology. It's a big fat white woman. She's dressed in a Viking helmet and she's singing opera. It ain't over till the fat lady sing. The game is not over until that buzzer rings. So you got to hang in there, be strong, be disciplined, because just like in life, it's not over till the fat lady sings. I remember one particular time in my life, I was back in the 80s, I was working for a giant bakery, world famous bakery, ordered products, and took products in Maryland, Virginia, D.C., and I happened to get hired fortunate enough to get hired by the company, which was a blessing. My brother was supervisor there, so it was a blessing to get hired by the company. Got in the company, man, and got to working there. I worked there for 3.5 years under what's called a Java classification, which means I never got a full 40 hours. I could be called anytime. Someone going on vacation, somebody sick, somebody hurt, somebody don't want to work or whatever reason. They give you a call. But the thing about it is that always calls you at terrible hours when you're already fatigued and tired. So I know that 90% of my time working for that company, I was fatigued and tired because I worked in the daytime, regular shift at my parents' grocery store, right? So I was like always fatigued, always tired. But I just kept pressing ahead. I kept thinking, well, maybe one day I'll get my 40 hours. Maybe one day, I'll have that big giant paycheck every week. But till then, I'll just come whenever they call me. If I can make it, I'll make it. I'll just keep on doing it. So I hung in there for 3.5 years on a Java classification. And the good thing that happened to me was that I was told about a first-time home buyer program by one of my older sisters. And I pursued that. And because of the classification of that job and the income that it paid, it qualified me to get $15,000 at zero interest from the district government that I would pay back principal payments, which means you pay it back real fast, just paying principal. And was able to get my first piece of real estate and enjoy living in a house. I was in probably my middle 20s then, my first property. So happy, so excited, but it never would have came about if I got discouraged and said, well, I'm not getting 40 hours. They're working me like a dog in this place. Man, let me just skip out here and leave there. Hung in there. And although I never got my full 40 hours, I got that first time home buyer program in a house. And wasn't long after that, my dad retired from for the grocery store, as well as where he worked at Washington Terminal, which now is Amtrak. And we had a retirement party. And at the retirement party, I said, Dad, you think instead of selling the store, you think you give me a chance to try to run the store? He said, son, I'll give that. I'll take it into consideration. I'll really think about it. And then maybe like 6-7 months later, he said, I'm gonna give you a chance to run the family business, just on your own. And hopefully you can make it, but you only got 6 months, If you don't can't make it, or you can't keep things going the way you're supposed, then someone else, whoever next in line, will get in there to run it then. So I said, cool, and I thought to myself, well, I got 6 months, man. Let me go ahead and do everything I got to do. So I worked that store, man, sometimes 7 days a week, most all the time 6 days a week, maybe always like 12 to 14 hours a day. I made sure I had the store stocked full of product. I made sure I was courteous to the customers. I made sure I renewed my licenses, paid my taxes, did all my maintenances myself, did my pest control myself, did everything myself. I said, if I can work tired working for some company, for somebody else that, that I'm never going to have the building, but I can work here. I'm working for my dad's place, or working for myself, actual businessman myself. I said, I can stand on my feet. If I can stand on my feet. I know one time at that bakery, I stood on my feet 17 hours. I was catching bread, like I love Lucy, catching bread and putting it on like trays. And I finished an 8-hour shift, and the guy said, hey, man, someone else is going to be in 2 hours. Can you hang away for him? I said, sure, I can hang away for him, no problem. Never showed up. So, cut a long story short, I ended up doing 17 hours on my feet, catching bread and carrying on. So I figured to myself, all that stuff I kept in my mind, working at that particular bakery, I said to myself, like, I can work myself like a slave. So I came in this place. It was May 16th, 1985, and that was May the 19th, 2023. 38, almost 39 years in here working this thing there. Raised all my children up in here. End up buying the actual building, an entire estate on an estate sale. I tell you, this opportunity of a lifetime, because if I had worked 40 hours a week and had been making a bank book of money back in the day, when that company finally shut down after maybe 120 years in D.C., they closed up, and they were moving to Kansas City. More than likely, I probably went to Kansas City with them, and wouldn't never thought about asking my father about giving me a chance to run the family business. So you never know how things gonna work, but you trust in the Lord. You always trust in the Lord and pray and be hopeful. And again, never give up, because you don't know when the fat lady gonna sing. But you got to keep working hard until that fat lady sing. So just like in sports and life, never give up. Keep pressing. Keep pushing ahead. Keep your head down to the grind, man, and keep grinding and pushing and trying to achieve and striving. No matter how tired you are physically, try to stay alert and strong mentally, because sometimes your mental can break down because you're so fatigued and tired. So you got to try to stay strong mentally while you're getting run down physically. But it worked out to my benefit, and God blessed me and continues to bless me. And this thing, when I started running this place in '85, I had no children. I had my first son in '85, and my 3 followed after that. And then my youngest is 29 years old. So God can bless you all your life and make things prosperous for you. So look, don't stop trying, don't stop struggling, don't stop moving until the fat lady sings. And the fat lady singing life means you pass away. So stay black and American. Until next time.